Welcome to you all. Let us discuss the unit Learning and its various concerns, Part 1. Learning is of utmost importance in human behavior from birth to death. Albert Einstein, in one of his quotes, said that once you stop learning, you start dying. The process of learning affects the development of each and every organism. A child moves through various stages of learning in refining ideas through imitated customs and traditions. Cognitive skills are developed through the process of learning. Proper judgment, right decision making, and aesthetic development is procured through learning. At this juncture, it is very much relevant to say that learning is a continuous and cumulative process which further acts as a basis of maturation. Various aspects of human behavior are influenced by learning. The language we speak, our attitudes, thoughts and beliefs, personality, goal and perceptions are influenced by learning. Learning is a key concept of psychology which has been explained by various psychologists from different point of views. As far as behaviorism is concerned, it is through experience from the environment that the behavior is modified. All the activities and thoughts are experience of the learner. Learning is a permanent change in the behavior of the learner. Several personality traits are brought on account of learning. Definition of learning in education. There is no fixed definition of learning. Various psychologists and educationists defined learning in their own way according to their own perceptions. Some of them focused on the process of learning, whereas others on the acquisition and retention aspect of learning. According to Gestalt's view, the basis of learning is to gain knowledge after observing the whole structure. Responding towards the entire situation is learning. According to Wordsworth, the process of acquiring new knowledge and new responses is the process of learning. G.D. Boaz observes that learning is the process by which the individuals acquire various habits, knowledge and attitudes that are necessary to meet the demands of life in general. In the words of C. Skinner, learning is the process of progressive behavior adoption. From the above definitions, it is evident that learning is a modification and organization of behavior. It is through learning that confirmation of a new process is being procured by the individual. Meaning and significance of learning. Learning is a wide concept which includes all activities which affect children in all respect throughout their growing process. As the child grows, mental development also takes place along with that, which in turn leads to modification of behavior. Though learning is a process of changes in the behavior of a child, it is also to be noted that these changes can be negative or positive. Most of the changes are permanent and can be termed as mental process. Learning is a process and not a product. Many of the traits like attitudes, perceptions, skills, fears, anxiety, etc. can be the product of learning. Unfortunately, our present system of education views learning as a product, which is very much criticized by Paulo Freire in his book Pedagogy of the Oppressed. According to him, education is such a situation becomes an act of depositing, in which the knowledge is deposited by the teacher on the students who are mere objects. This is further termed as banking concept by Paulo Freire. When learning is viewed as a process, the complete concept changes. Learning becomes a tool for observing and understanding the real life situations for the better survival. Learning is purposive or goal directed. Learning is a purposeful activity. It is very much systematic, though there is incidental and unintended learning. Learning is universal and continuous, as it is not restricted to a particular age. It is a never-ending process from birth to death, irrespective of culture, tradition and race, as explained in the introductory part of the module. Learning prepares for adjustment, as it helps the individual to adapt to the changing situations in life. In the present scenario, every individual meets different situations of conflicts in life. Instead of running away from the challenges of life, it is very much essential to face those challenges and overcome them appropriately. Learning is comprehensive, that it influences all the cognitive, affective and psychomotor domains of learning. Both the favorable and unfavorable behavior is considered to be learning. Learning is organizing experience right from the birth to produce changes in the behavior. The usual process of attaining facts and knowledge is not considered as learning, as it is beyond that. Learning is the organization and reorganization of experiences. Now let us see learning styles. Every individual learns in a different way, in their own style. How individuals perceive information and how they understand it is different for different individuals. Learning style is defined as the way how people learn and approach information. There are 4 types of learning styles. One is visual. Students with visual learning style use images, graphs, pictures and maps to organize the information so as to comprehend it. Auditory. Students with auditory learning style are interested in listening and speaking situations like public speaking, lectures, discussions and debates. Auditory learners best understand new content through listening and speaking in situations such as lectures and group discussions. Reading or writing preference. Students make the best use of vocabulary to learn when they have reading or writing preference style of learning. They could easily change the abstract concept into words. Kinesthetic. Students with kinesthetic style of learning may grasp the concept thoroughly through activities. They make the best use of their body parts for figuring things. It is the responsibility of teachers to assess the learning styles of students and use such variety of teaching methods in the classroom so as to help adapt the learners in the classroom. Transfer of learning. Transfer of learning means that learning and training in one of the faculties of mind will help in the functioning of other faculties like reasoning, judgment, etc. Learning of language will help in the learning of other subjects like science and social science. Learning of mathematics also helps in the acquisition of the concepts in physics. The concept of transfer of learning is established by Thorndike through the theory of identical elements. It states that the resemblance and similarity between situations has a significant effect on the amount and kind of transfer of learning which is carried over from one situation to the other. Types of transfer of learning. Transfer of learning usually takes place in 3 ways: positive transfer, negative transfer, zero transfer. Positive transfer occurs when the acquisition of one type of performance facilitates another type. Better memorization of poetry and mathematical tables will help in the memorization of the concepts in the similar other material. Negative transfer occurs when the previous learning acts as a hindrance for learning a new thing. Certain learned vocabulary will hinder the acquisition of new vocabulary having similar pronunciation. Zero transfer means that the previous learning does not have a significant effect on the new learning. Zero transfer refers to the fact that previous learning has no effect on the subsequent learning. A person who is good at driving has nothing to do with his learning a new sport like swimming. The importance and utility of transfer of learning should be taken into consideration in the classrooms during the teaching learning process. The skills and abilities attained in the classrooms should be chosen and implemented in such a way that these have future implications in the life of the learner to solve problems. Instruction and education. Education is the all-round development of the innate powers of a child. It includes the physical, mental, emotional and social development of the child, and it is a continuous process. The area of education is much broader and wider as compared to instruction. Instruction, on the other hand, is certain systematic and planned predetermined knowledge which are being imparted into the minds of students to achieve changes in the cognitive, affective and psychomotor domain. The effectiveness of instruction is much attributed to the retention power of the learner at right time and right place. Thus, it is much narrow concept compared to education. In education, child is the center of teaching learning process. Prime importance is given to the children and their development. Teacher is a guide who plans and implements for the benefit of students. In the case of instruction, the teacher is central. The selection of the method of teaching and how to use it wisely and effectively for arousing interest among learners is the prime responsibility of teachers. Now, let us come to factors affecting learning. There are various factors affecting learning. First is psychological factor. Psychological factors are, as already said, are unique to the individual. A clear understanding of these factors by the teacher and parents are essential to provide proper guidance to students. Various aspects of psychological factors are influencing learning. One is intelligence. It is one of the psychological factors which is very closely related to the learning process. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence put forth the fact that every individual is intelligent in their own way. Intelligence acts a base for learning. In other words, teaching and learning process are conditioned by intelligence. It is the degree of intelligence which acts as an indicator of effectiveness of learning. Another component is motivation. Motivation plays an important role in learning process. It is an energizer for sustained learning. In order to help learners in activating and guiding them in the learning process, motivation is a must. What are the sources of motivation? How to motivate students? All these should be serious consideration by teachers. Maturation for readiness to learn. Readiness of learners is one of the deciding factors of achievement in learning. If there is a genuine willingness to learn from the part of the learners, it will lead to enthusiasm and curiosity to learn and acquire more. Maturity is also an essential factor to learn skills or tasks. Skills and tasks should be put as methods of teaching according to the levels of intelligence and maturity of the learners. To learn every task, there is an appropriate time. Identifying this time and space and providing learning experiences to satisfy the needs of the students will make learning easier and more effective. The appropriate time is correlated with the physical, intellectual and neutral aspect of development of the learners, which enable them to observe, analyze and understand the problems and find out appropriate solutions to the problems. Emotions. Emotions play a pivotal role in directing our behavior. Emotions help us to experience all the happiness and joy of our life. A person devoid of emotions seems to be crippled in his journey of life. Expressing emotions in an agitated or excited state of mind plays a significant role in providing direction to our behavior and thus shapes our personality. Psychologist explains emotions as feelings or affective experiences along with certain psychological changes to perform some behavioral acts. Emotions originate in brain and learning occurs in brain too. Learning is the acquisition of knowledge and skills which is supported by thinking. Interest. If a person has genuine interest in achieving something, he or she will try level best to achieve the same. Such persons will direct their energies into activities to fulfill their needs in which they are interested. Recognizing the interest of the students and using variety of teaching methods in the classroom will help to create better learning environment. Attitudes. Every individual is having certain likes and dislikes which motivates them to behave in certain ways. There are certain preconceived notions in every individual which may direct them to form a particular behavioral pattern. These preconceived notions which exist in our psyche is known as attitudes. Socialization has a significant role in the formation of attitudes with a component of knowledge and feeling. Attitudes can be negative, positive or neutral depending on the objects, events or persons we come across. What we are willing to learn with enthusiasm is directly related to the direction of our attitude. When students have a positive attitude towards the school, they will do much better to achieve goals and expectations of the school. Self-concept. Self-concept means what an individual feels about himself or herself and seeks considerable importance in teaching learning process. A better self-concept motivates one to achieve goals in a systematic way. It is very much essential for the students to identify their strengths and capacities along with their weaknesses, limitations, etc. for learning to direct in a proper direction with enthusiasm, interest and energy. Identifying one's own weaknesses will help to work on those weaknesses by spending more time and effort to overcome it. Giving recognitions to students in the classroom is very much important as evident from the above explanation. Give situations to the students inside and outside the classroom to express themselves and understand their self for identifying their strengths and weaknesses. Socio-cultural factors. The socio-cultural environment of a child significantly influences learning process. Most of the learning occurs with special reference to the cultural context of the child as far as social psychologists are concerned. In fact, All learning occurs with special reference to the cultural context of an individual. Socio-cultural factors include family, neighborhood and community, along with socio-cultural diversities like caste, class, ethnicity, religion, etc. School related factors. School environment is the place where our students spend most of their time. Variety of learning experiences are provided by the different teachers in the schools to the students. School environment includes school culture and school climate too. School culture is the shared attitudes and beliefs that is bounded to the particular school, which may vary from one to the other school. School climate is the organization at the school and classroom level, including building. It may vary from school to school within the same region. Developing school climate is the independent decision of the school. Changes in the school culture may positively or negatively affect school climate. Both physical and physiological aspects of school are included in the school climate, which are susceptible to change. These aspects provide necessary amiable conditions for learning process to take place. Students often express their feelings and attitudes towards the school. How they feel at school, at what they expect from school is very important. Students should be happy at school. Caring is a core element of school climate. Safety and security of students should be ensured in the school in all respect to provide conducive environment for teaching learning process. Teaching learning process related factors. First one is method of learning. Method of learning used by the students are directly related to the method of teaching implied by the teachers in the classrooms. It is very much essential to make learners aware about how to study. Proper method of learning always enhances learning and promote retention power of students. Teachers should organize learners in advance and check the background knowledge of students before introducing any new concept. Assimilating new ideas requires time and accommodation is taking place in learners when content is presented systematically. Learning experiences provided to the students should be activity oriented and with the systematic evaluation to expect good result in learning. Real life happenings and situation should be a part of learning experiences so that students can correlate the experiences with their own life. Maximum use of senses should be there in the classroom with proper audiovisual switching, as senses play a dominant role in the learning process. Method of teaching also includes sufficient practicing, revision, review of learning tasks and drill work with utilization of time properly. Reinforcement is also an important factor in learning process. Methods of teaching used by teachers should be learner centered. Majority of the time should be spent on teacher people interaction to enhance learning among students. Influence of media on learning. Students in the present world are in the cobweb of media. We cannot neglect the importance of media since it is the necessity of the present scenario. How to use it properly and for what purpose? These questions are not arising in the minds of the students, and even parents are least bothered about it. Cyber security threats is always there with us. Awareness on cyber security is the necessity nowadays. Communicating through media is an effective and innovative method, and its importance is undebatable. Media can be broadly divided into two, print and non-print media. Print media usually refers to the textbook of the students which has been using traditionally in our schools for the reference of students and teachers. Non-print media is the modern electronic media for facilitating learning at a much faster rate than the print medium. It will help meet the individual needs of the students through variety of experiences. E-learning materials are motivating to the students for their learning process. It requires well-developed skills for teachers for proper use of media in the classroom. Learners also need constructive skills to use media and critically interpret combinations of pictures, words, symbols, diagrams and maps. A constructive and creative use of media will help the learners to carry over their understanding for the benefit of the society and also for themselves. Formal education becomes meaningful only when it is used at an application level. If the genuine purpose of education is to prepare the students to become responsible individuals, it could be satisfied with the wise use of media. Media can provide many alternative possibilities for students to construct a new phase of information with ultimate stress on synthesis and intellectual analysis. Let us summarize the session. Learning is a continuous process which brings changes in learners through studying, practicing or experiencing something. Major characteristics of learning include: it is permanent, it is universal, it is systematic and dynamic. Learning style is defined as the way how people learn and approach information, how individuals perceive information and how they understand it in a different ways. Transfer of learning is also discussed in this unit. We have also discussed various factors affecting learning. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice time.